ladies.
Hi, we're back.
We are back, and today we're going to talk about code switching. So, you want me to tell them what it is?
Please tell the audience.
Because my friend here just got hip to the game.
Yeah, took me a little while.
Took her a little while. So, code switching technically is the transfer between two languages, the ability to transfer between two languages. But we've accepted it kind of in our modern day culture, is really kind of interpreting a little bit more than that. It's really kind of transferring between kind of two different cultures.
So if I'm hearing you right, Tamara,
Mm-hmm.
so it's how we talk. Mm-hmm. It's also the polish we wear.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we wear our hair to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's our jargon. It's all of those things. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really been able to become accustomed to the culture in which you are in at work.
Yeah. And that's what, the biggest place where I think I've used code switching is at work.
Mm. So
that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to come from a perspective of African American females, because that's the story we know.
That's all we know.
For all my sisters out
Can't tell
there,
anybody
you
else's
probably
story.
understand too.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, when you are in an environment at work, sometimes you may show up a little bit different than how you do when you're at the cookout or with your homegirls.
It's important that you do.
Yeah, it is. And so we're just telling from our story and from our perspective, really.
And along with what Tim was saying, one of the things that we thought about when we said we were going to do this segment is we realized it could be a bit controversial for some women.
Yeah.
Understanding that everybody works in a different culture.
Mm-hmm.
Our story is going to be very different than maybe someone else's story.
Yeah.
But what we do believe is that there is some truth and some connection in some places of maybe how we've been able to navigate in our career.
Yeah.
And be successful, and learning how to present ourselves from a professional standpoint, and quite honestly, just being able to adapt to the culture we've been in. So,
what are some of the things that you've had to learn and adapt at work?
So my disclaimer is, when I was young, I don't know if I was always proud of it, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, gosh, like I really want to express myself in certain ways, whether it be tattoos, and tattoos is a good one we didn't think about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you wanted a tattoo.
And let me tell you, my tattoos are in the most discreet places. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got one on my wrist a couple of years ago, but I had already reached a certain level in my career that I felt very comfortable. I got one behind my ear, things like that, but I think some of the things that I've seen myself do, one, are tattoos. So I can appreciate tattoos. I'm a very expressive person. Being in a very conservative environment, that was my way to kind of let my creative side out, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it goes down to the color of my hair. For many people who've known me for a long time, I've never really had any outside the box color hairs. Yeah. No, nothing like too ground shaking.
I wish I could.
Yeah, but to Tamara's point, there's been times that I've wanted to, but there's also been times that, for me, I knew that wasn't appropriate for the role that I was in for multiple reasons, because there were so many, what I felt like young women that were watching me. Yeah. And if I could count on my hand how many times I've been in different environments at work or in the field, and people are like, I want to do what you've done. Can you show me? Can you teach me how you got where you're at? Yeah. And a lot of times, Tamara's in HR, so she gets a lot of this, but my concern is, are people willing to invest what it's going to take to move up in your career?
Because this is the reality. It will cost you something.
It's going to take something, yeah.
It will.
Anything
and
in
when
life
I think
that
about,
you...
anything. Anything. Particularly for women and women of color. The reality is, your environment is going to be, that the higher you go up, the wider it will get. And
the less you will see of women, the less you'll see of minorities. To your point, it's there will be more white counterparts, but there also are going to be a lot less females.
It is, and sometimes what that looks like is kind of, and I kind of call this being neutral. We almost have to neutralize ourselves, which is not right, quite frankly. I want to just be very clear. I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying this reality. Yeah. In a lot of places, and I think we continue to make progress, but I feel like, I have to neutralize myself. I can't be too aggressive. Can't be too loud,
because then you're the angry black woman.
You're the angry black woman, right? I have to kind of really just do this neutralization of myself. Nothing too crazy in my hair, nothing too crazy in my nails, very neutral.
And you'll know, but when you're code switching though, Tamara, to that point, you'll know when it's appropriate to express yourself in different ways. Because there have been times in meetings where neutralizing didn't work. It wasn't impactful because I've got strong counterparts. We have people that we work with that have very strong personalities, be it African American or Caucasian or white, whatever we want to call it. But there are times that I have to be a little bit more aggressive, and it calls for that. But I think the problem is you can't get hung there too long.
You sure can't.
That can't become who you are.
That's right.
Because that really turns people away from wanting to work with you. And I do think that a lot of times African American women struggle with that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a time where you have forgot to code switch at work?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, I've been
bad tough sometimes
at work, and I've said some things, and they're like, "Ooh, I didn't know you can string those together."
Hey,
listen.
And so Tamara, the thing that we were doing earlier, we were talking about like what are some of the code switching things, and so like for me, like they came from me, I'm not here for that. Or they didn't have several seats. Yeah, like those are the things that we're talking about that we can get on the phone with our girlfriends and say. But if I'm trying to articulate something to my supervisor, I can't say, well, they came from me, and I'm not about that life. Now, I can do that very well at home.
Right.
But it's really inappropriate at work. And so that's the piece that can come across as like, a lot of times I've heard people say, well, like, I feel like I'm not being authentic. And I'm telling you, you guys, personally, for us, Tamara and I, we're on a path of really understanding our authenticity. So it is important to understand who you are at your core. But from a career perspective, you have to be able to fit into the culture in your company.
Right.
If you want something a little more relaxed, then you go look for that career.
That's right. And sometimes that career may not come with the same dollar amount attached to it.
Salary.
So you have to be really honest with yourself about what you're willing to do and what you are not willing to do. And here's the reality. There is no shame in either decision.
Neither.
Right?
One of them, yeah.
I have had people tell me, look, I am not going to change, girl. I'm going to talk just how I want to talk. And it's like, okay. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're in customer facing roles, if you're in different types of roles, that may not be appropriate for the culture of the company.
Because everybody can't relate to that. And that's
everybody
the part,
can't relate to that, right?
That's the part that we have to understand. And, Tamara and I talk about this. We can only speak from an African American female's perspective. I don't know what it's like for a white male to code switch. And I don't know what it's like for a white female to code switch. But what I know is it happens.
Right.
But for us as African American females, we talk about how I'm not happy at all seeing as few African American females at the top. I'm not happy with that.
Me too.
Because I think that we have power. There's magic to us, and quite honestly, there's organizations that I think see that in us when we know how to present ourselves, when we know how to bring our magic to the table. And so I think what Tamara and I are so passionate about is letting you guys learn from some of the things that we've learned from that have gotten us in our career where we are, and quite honestly, do better. Go higher than where we are.
Go higher.
But there's things that come along with that, and you got to ask yourself, am I willing to sacrifice this? Am I willing to give what it takes? Years of, not having certain colors in my hair or wear my fingernail polish a certain way. Or quite honestly, the way I dress, the way I show up at work. I mean, some of that stuff is a part of the journey.
And to your point too, there's some things that I may not change about myself. So I've made a decision to wear my natural hair at work.
Yeah.
Regardless of the consequences. Now, fortunately, I'm in a culture that's a lot less. It's a techie culture. It's a tech company, and so we're very progressive. We're less formal. People are able to be more creative and express themselves.
Yeah.
And that works for me. So there might be some things that you just say no.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear my natural hair, or I'm going to do whatever, and that's okay.
But to Tamara's point, figure out your non-negotiables.
That's right.
And another big thing is get a mentor.
Yes.
So, and 100%. Your mentor has to be somebody that you trust.
Ain't that the truth?
And like, if my mentor gives me feedback that stings a little bit, I can't always get offended by that, because you getting a mentor is someone that can help guide you. Let them be someone that like has reached some goals that you want to reach because they know what it's like to get there.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get a mentor that's not reached some of the levels that you're trying to achieve. But always having someone that can be very transparent with you. Tamara and I would love to be that for people. We already are mentors to several females. But what I would say is trust the person that's your mentor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask for feedback. And just know that this journey comes with a price. I mean, everything does. No matter where you're at, you just got to decide what you want your end result to be.
You do. Well, ladies, we'd love to hear your feedback. We certainly love to hear your perspective. Again, even if it's different than ours, we'd love to hear it. Please share, like, subscribe, leave comments, and until next time.
Yeah, we look forward to talking to you guys soon.